All right, let's get to these punk ass Green Bay Packers. All right, so Harpazo says that tight end Tucker Kraft said if he can get hands on Kirby Joseph, he will. In other words, he wants to hurt Kirby. Green Bay is just adding fuel to the fire. Okay, and that's what we wanted to touch on. So let's go back a little bit. To quote the great Lil Wayne, I don't curse, but in this verse, man, F the world. I'm still not gonna curse. I'm not gonna drop it. See, Taylor made. See, I'm not even going in on your boy. See, that's boy, Taylor made now. Come on now. Are you wearing a green jersey underneath your Lions jersey? Anyway, Tucker Kraft. We're going back a little bit. Okay. Matthew Stafford. For as much as anybody wants to say that Matthew Stafford has done for the Detroit Lions and the city of Detroit, I don't care nothing about none of that. Okay? Here's the thing. Me and Matthew Stafford don't get along. I don't like Matthew Stafford. I didn't like Matthew Stafford when he was here. I just didn't, because I felt like he was the reason that the Detroit Lions were called the Cardiac Cats. I felt like watching Matthew Stafford was a lot like to a higher degree. Okay? And I'll give you boys some love. Jordan Love, TaylorMade Media. To a higher degree, watching Matthew Stafford was like watching Jordan Love. Jordan Love, again, is only in his second year as a starter, so he's still got time, and we can't really put a stamp on him. Is he going to be like Matthew Stafford? Matthew Stafford, before winning a Super Bowl, leaving the Detroit Lions to go to the Los Angeles Rams and win a Super Bowl, was the king of the comeback, and he was also the king of the throw the pick six when you're trying to come back. He was also the king of the let me turn the football over, get strip sacked, fumble, whatever. Again, I go back to this, and I haven't checked the stats, but it is the only I've only seen this one time in the history. All right. I lost some viewers, so I guess they don't like my Stafford take. All right. One time in the history of watching football have I seen a quarterback turn the ball over 2 times in the same drive. Now, how does that happen? No, it wasn't overturned by a penalty. No. If you go back to the 2014 team and we were playing the Dallas Cowboys, on the last drive, Matthew Stafford threw an interception, which got then stripped during the return, and then the Detroit Lions recovered, and then in the ensuing drive, because I'm going to say it was the same drive, even though ball changed hands, Dallas's offense never came on the field, so the defense stayed on the field, the Lions offense stayed on the field, and then on 4th down, when you needed a play, Matthew Stafford got strip sacked to end the game. All right. He was also the king of let me make sure my stats are good, don't care if we lose. Yes, that's why we called him Stat Padford. This man has now planted a seed in Detroit. A rotten tree has grown from out of the soil and is bearing rotten fruit. Okay? Remember when Matthew Stafford during the playoffs threw a hospital ball to Tyler Higbee? Okay? Led him over the middle right into Kirby Joseph. Matthew Stafford not protecting his guy. Kirby Joseph goes down to the thighs, which is where you're supposed to hit people because you're not supposed to hit them up top, right? So if he would have hit him up top, it would have been a penalty. It would have been flagged. He would have gotten a fine. So he had to go down to the legs, hit him in the knee. His foot was planted in the turf. it gave his knee got blown out. Was that a dirty play? No, it's how they're teaching safeties and corners to tackle guys like Derrick Henry or big ass tight ends. Okay? That's how they're taught to tackle. So Matthew Stafford goes and he calls Kirby Joseph and, oh, you're dirty. You know it. It's on tape, blah, blah, blah. And Kirby goes, well, your loss is on tape as well. Cool. Here's the thing. Rams fans picked up on that. Vikings fans picked up on that. And now Tucker Kraft is using the narrative to provide the Detroit Lions with bulletin board material. Now, he didn't go as far as to call Kirby Joseph dirty. He said, oh, he took out some of my brothers, and I think about that, and blah, blah, blah. Look, bro, again, as we said, this is how DBs are tackling tight ends, right? This is how DBs are tackling fullbacks. This is how DBs are tackling Derrick Henry-sized running backs. Motown Mitch, what up, though? Says, can't chat in class, but we'll stay on just to give you whatever it gives with people in the chat. All right, I appreciate you, Motown Mitch. So this is how DBs, man, are tackling people. The NFL, if you didn't know, Tucker Kraft has done things to try to protect you and your brothers. Okay, so when you come across the middle, you are not getting obliterated, right? And having concussions and all of these things. This is what the NFL is asking them to do. Kirby Joseph isn't dirty. He hit He hit TJ Hutchinson, same way, knee went out. Okay, now he's dirty. He hit Tyler Higbee, knee went out, now he's dirty. I guess everybody he hits, he injures, right? Oh, wait, but that's not true. So now Tucker Kraft is like, oh, if I get a chance to get hands on him, like this fake tough guy stuff, bro. Why are you when Kirby Joseph was asked, and this is how you handle it. When Kirby Joseph was asked on a podcast with Destroying, the guy that was the kicker in college, and they told him this was before NIL. He had a podcast and he was making like tons of money on YouTube. And they said, you can't do that while you're playing Division I athletics. So he chose the podcast over play. And he's making tons of money, right? So now he's on a podcast. He's called Kicking It with D, I think. So Kirby Joseph was on this podcast. They asked him about Caleb Williams. He said, what do you think of the young, or are you going to get a pick, whatever? He said, I'll see him when I see him. He didn't provide the Bears with any bulletin board material, and he did almost pick off 2 of Caleb's passes, but almost doesn't count unless it's hand grenades and horseshoes. And we're not playing any of those, or I should say either of those. So now Tucker Kraft is just giving bulletin board material, basically insinuating that he's going to be going after Kirby in a manner outside of playing football. If I get my chance to get hands on him, what are you going to do, Tucker? What does that mean? If I get a chance to get hands on him, what you going to do? You going to punch him? You going to choke him out? You going to break something? What are you going to do, Tucker? Okay, so you left it open trying to be a tough guy. Like Kirby Joseph wasn't even thinking about you, okay? But now I hope that Jordan Love does throw him specifically 2, okay? 2 to Kirby Joseph, multiple. Because you know what Kirby Joseph loves doing other than anything else? He loves to make Packers quarterbacks his sons. He did it to Aaron Rodgers. He did it to Kirby Joseph. To Jordan Love last game. Got his first pick 6 ever, okay? Not high school, not college, not pros. That was his first ever pick 6. Jordan Love threw it to him. Okay? Made him his son. Now, on the other side of the football, this guy, Taylor Made says, never heard of Tucker Kraft, heard of Robert Kraft, though. This guy, let me take my hat off. Xavier McKinney. Xavier McKinney, bro. Xavier McKinney is delusional. Okay? He's clearly salty because he came whining and crying about the Detroit Lions. I don't like the way they're blowing people out. They're bullies. We don't respect that in this locker room. And was a ghost. Okay? Like he was playing Sam Darnold. He was a ghost for the entire game. That man had no stats. He didn't have any tackles. He didn't have any passes defense. He didn't have anything. It was just like he was on the field running around, just showing up, being there, wearing a Packers uniform. He was a non-factor. He was non-existent in the game that we played in Green Bay. So now, when they asked him about Amon-Ra St. Brown at his locker today. They asked him the question: was the Green Bay sucks hoodie, was it something or was it just nothing? Ha ha ha. Oh, we ain't worried about him. We not worried about him. The dude's an all-pro, bro. Like he's an all-pro. What do you mean you're not worried about him? I guarantee you your coaches are worried about him. I guarantee you other players on the defense are worried about him. But Luke, just give the respect. Even if you don't like what he did. They asked Amon-Ra St. Brown in his media availability yesterday about the Green Bay Packers. He said they're a good team. It's going to be a hard fought game. Yada, yada, yada. Is it just that the Detroit Lions and other teams get media training and the Green Bay Packers do not? Is this what's happening? Are you trying to tell me that the Green Bay Packers, which is such a storied franchise, have no media training? Because you don't talk before a rivalry game and just give a bunch of bulletin board material to the other team. The Detroit Lions, whose house you're coming into, are not saying anything. They're saying all the right things. But the Green Bay Packers are over here just spouting off. I don't think he was saying that St. Brown can't get deep, because we know St. Brown can get deep. And even if he doesn't get deep, you got to tackle him, Xavier, right? Because if he gets through the first part, if he gets over across the linebackers, if he does catch a 20-yard pass across the middle, which he's very capable of doing, and which he has done plenty of times, he's in your zone, Xavier, and you're going to have to deal with him. All right? So not only do I hope that Kirby gets 2 thrown to him by Jordan Love, now I hope that Amon-Ra St. Brown catches 2 thrown to him by Jared Goff. I hope it's close. I hope it's 21-20 with 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and we're driving, and Amon-Ra St. Brown gets a 20-yard corner or a 20-yard post coming across the middle and takes that thing to the house, and we go up 28-21 with 30 seconds left. Amon-Ra St. Brown scores the game-winning touchdown, and guess who's trailing behind him trying to catch him? Xavier McKinney. Because while Xavier McKinney is a very good safety, just like Kirby Joseph, they're tied for the league in interceptions. Kirby Joseph doesn't say anything. But Xavier McKinney keeps talking. How are you talking after you talked the first time and you were a ghost? You were non-existent. You did zero to help your team. You did nothing to help your team. In a game where the NFL tried to help you by throwing out Brian Branch for nothing. You did nothing, but you're talking. I don't understand. If you came for all the stats and none of the static, if you're trying to keep your Lions news pragmatic, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you can get notified when the Motor City Cats are back at it. And plus, you know you can't get enough of the victory buffs.